Today on Season 2 of the Color Outside the Box podcast.
So when it's time, you look at the picture and you're like, I'm just going to put it together. I'm not going to read the instructions. I'm just put it together because I want this picture. It look good. I can just put it together. And then at the end, you're missing. You're like, oh, man, I got some extra parts. What's going on? They're not extra parts. You didn't read the instructions.
Color Outside the Box is a podcast series that focuses on creating a better you. Whether it's advice about family, relationships, raising children in this technological world, marriage, or careers, we seek to find the answers to help you live your best life. So start your Monday morning off right with me, your hostess with the mostest, Princess Miller, on Color Outside the Box right here on iTunes and everywhere podcasts can be heard. Well, good Monday morning, and thank you for tuning in to the Color Outside the Box podcast with your hostess, Princess Miller, and I am here with another special guest. Today, I have Minister Cory Penn in the studio with us, and Cory is a youth pastor. He's a husband. He's a father. He's a mentor. He's a person in our community that has been working with kids for how long, Cory?
Probably about 15 years.
Okay.
About 15 years.
And
now.
has established some really great programs for children. And so we're going to talk about that this month. But first off, I want to talk about marriage. That love in your life.
Yeah, I'm definitely blessed to have a beautiful and smart and intelligent wife. Alfonso, and we actually met in high school, so we had the opportunity to grow together. And that's interesting.
Yeah, it sure is, because there are a lot of people that, you know, they don't think that you can find love at first sight, but I think with you it was like love at first sight, right?
Yeah, it was close to it. It was close to it. Our first conversation, I actually saw her across the room in math class. And then they put us in order by our last name, and we were sitting right next to each other. So I was like, okay, I'm waiting for my right opportunity to speak with her. And she started talking about church. And from there, I mean, it was just amazing. I asked, could I go to church with her? She was like, what? And later on, I didn't know that, but she said she told her mother about me. I was the first boy she talked about. And awesome. She said the same thing, that it was just interesting how we met and how our first conversation was really about God. So it was close to love at first sight.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. I think it was, because when you saw her, you knew you wanted to get with her. You were just waiting for your opportunity.
That's true. So
how important is marriage?
I think marriage is when you, from a biblical perspective, actually the first relationship we see. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think that's people don't think about that, because most of the time we think about our parents. We think about being parents first, and that's the relationship that we kind of focus on the most. But I believe when the husband and wife are working together, everything else just falls in place. And I think it creates relationships with your kids that's great, and you can prepare them to walk in their purpose and destiny. So marriage to me is very vital in the home, and very vital even in society.
Yes.
So
yeah, and it's disheartening that we're trying to get away from marriage.
Yes. You
know, we're trying to get to the point where we're free. Mm-hmm. You know, the young people say, well, I just want to be free. I want to be free to love who I want to love, and love how I want to love, and love what I want to love, because, you know, some of them are falling in love with some things and people that, you know, is not the traditional role. And so how do you feel about being a mentor, trying to mentor kids that may be dealing with various issues when it comes to love and marriage?
I think the problem is that in the past, they didn't see what marriage was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like, I give this example, and I have this problem, so I know that younger people have this problem. Like, you see a picture, mm-hmm. or you getting ready to put something together, and you like, man, that's awesome, right? Mm-hmm. I'm about to put this together, you know, and now I have kids, so I'm putting different toys together, and I got to, you know, you have all these tools and parts. So when it's time, you look at the picture, and you're like, I'm just going to put it together. I'm not going to read the instructions. Mm-hmm. I'm just put it together because I want this picture. It look good. I can just put it together, and then at the end, you're missing. You're like, oh man, I got some extra parts. Mm-hmm. What's going on? They're not extra parts. You didn't read the instructions. And I think that's the same way with marriage. I think that a lot of times we see this picture, and then when it doesn't work, or you missing, or you have some extra parts, or you missing some parts, you like, what's going on? Now, I just rather do my own thing. And the problem is they're not reading the instructions. So when I say the instructions is what the word says about the situation, like understanding the role of the husband, understanding the role of the wife, and how we are one and we should operate as one in really every aspect of life. And that's the problem. You know, we want to do, like you said, we want to be so free, but we realize, but what they don't realize, that they are hurting themselves in the end. And I think if we really get back to following the instructions that was laid out before us, then we'll see that success.
Yes. One of the things that's disheartening, I was speaking with a young lady, and I saw on Facebook, she was like, oh, my husband this, and my husband that, and my husband, because that's a new term they got now, husband.
Yeah.
And so I asked the young lady, I said, have y'all gotten married? And she said, well, no, we hadn't gotten married yet, but just keep praying for us that it's going to happen. Now, they're living together. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow. I said, you know, and the young man was brought up in the church. Dad is a pastor over 20-something churches. But, you know, for whatever issues that they may have, they won't get married. And I told her, I said, well, you know, before you get married, please get counseling. Yeah. You know, because a lot of us have gotten away from getting counseling before we get married. Yes. You know, and I was sharing with her that, you know, I'll be married going on 16 years this year. I said, and we've never had an issue where, you know, I put him out, or, you know, he didn't call me out my name, or I didn't call him out his name. And I was saying, you know, it's not that I'm trying to brag. It's the fact of we had mentors. That's it. That, you know, set us down and that counseled us and taught us about issues that may arise in a marriage and how to deal with them in a healthy way, because you can have healthy conflict, you know, but we've never had an argument. You know, I've never had where, you know, well, I can't stand your daddy. You know, I never did that. Yeah. You know, and I was sharing with her because I do know of some issues that they've had, you know, that was quite tumultuous. And I was like, listen, you know, get some counseling. Why don't you go back to the drawing board and pray and see whether or not he's the one? Yes. Because he may not be the one. Mm-hmm. And if he's not ready to make you his and give you his last name, maybe it's time to walk away from the relationship so that you can be all that God got you, you know, for you, and receive the one that God has for you. Yes. And she, you know, just very disappointedly said, oh, well, you know, just keep praying for us, you know, that we're going to get married. Oh, okay, then. All right, then, you know. Yeah. You know, so how do you handle a situation like that? Because I know you mentor young people that grow up to be grown people that, you know, may see you in the street and be like, Mr. Penn, you know.
Yeah, I think you did a great job. You know, the thing about it is that, you know, you can tell people, you can give them guidance, but it's up to them to listen. And I would have did the same thing, honestly. From my perspective is people ask me that all the time, because a lot of times people, of course, see my relationship with my wife. I talk about it. And the reason why I ran into someone at Walmart and it was like, it can't be that great. Like, really, like you always speaking. I'm like, honestly, it is. Mm-hmm. I said, and I basically shared the same testimony similar to yours, that when my wife and I got married, I felt like I knew her since we've been together, like from high school. Like, man, nobody can tell me about this girl. Like, I know her. Mm-hmm. And I was totally wrong. Like, when we got into that counsel session and our mentor, Vincent Robinson, just brought out information and just asked us the right questions, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. And because we didn't think about those situations getting prepared for marriage. So if it wasn't for that, and even afterwards, I told them that we have a marriage group, and we was the youngest couple in the marriage group. So we was listening to the testimonies and listening to the things that our seasoned couples went through. And we was able to learn from that. Like, okay, now we don't want to go through that. So we was able to ask questions and get encouragement from them and positive feedback. So I think it's very important to get connected and have a mentor and have someone you can talk to. And definitely, I believe in premarital counseling. It's very important. And even if you just if you feel that this the person for you and both of y'all have this feeling, why not get counseling? I think that's important. And I think, but when you was talking about the husband, bae, and all this, and they're not truly married, it starts so early, and that's the problem. I think when you start so early in the middle school and high school, and this my baby, this my boo, and then you break up, you basically practicing divorce. And so we get to this place where we truly don't understand how to even be in a relationship. So how can you go into a marriage and you don't have no understanding, no knowledge of it? So to get that knowledge, you need a mentor. You need people who can pour into you. So that's what I try to do. I try to share my testimony, point them in the right direction. But in the end, it's up to them to follow.
Yeah. So talk to us. What do you define as a relationship?
A relationship, it's just depending. Every relationship is different, but I think every relationship have the same qualities: trust, respect. All those different things are very important in a relationship. It could be a father and son relationship. It could be when it comes to dating. I don't believe in it, and everyone have their difference. I don't believe in the boyfriend and girlfriend title in middle school and high school because I don't think you're ready. You don't know who you are.
That's
so
true.
How can you be with someone and you don't know who you know, just you don't know what you want to do in life, and you trying to connect to someone and be one. When you look at, again, the biblical perspective, Adam was set up to take care of his wife. He was prepared for it. And I think a lot of times we're not prepared. So I think in a relationship, it's just understanding that I can be friends with someone, I can like someone, but I don't have to always just put a title. We don't have to just, oh, you my boyfriend now, you my girlfriend now. And then you get into this place where, again, you start practicing divorce. So I think the good thing is understanding that the ultimate relationship is God, right? So that's our ultimate. He's our guidance of how we should do things. And I think it's important to get that relationship established first, your relationship with God. And then from that, everything else, to me, will fall in place. So
awesome. I structure this podcast around people who may not go to church traditionally, and so I don't like to call it a Christian show, but it always points back to God because that's who is in me. Definitely. And so when you're talking to people about, relationship and having that relationship with God, how do you first get to that point?
It's different ways, because of course I'm in different situations. I'm in different circumstances where it depends on the topic. I always try to use practical things. So it depends on what the need is. That's what I love about God. He provided the need first. Like let's meet your need. Okay. And now let me tell you how that happened. Let me point you to the person who made that happen. And that's my job. I start with what the need is. Okay, if you have a need in the area, let's talk about it. And in the end, I had the opportunity to speak with, I didn't speak, I heard him talk. It's John Maxwell. Okay. And that was last week. And it was amazing. He talked about stories, how, of course, he's, grew up, as a pastor, but then later on became a consultant in the leadership world, the business world. And he said, I always deal with the need. They want me to come in and teach them how to be leaders and give them advice on how to take their companies to the next level. And then they ask me, man, how do you get this wisdom? Okay, thank you. That's the bait. Just so you know what I'm saying? Now you pulled in. Let me talk to you about my Lord and Savior. And I think that's the way believers should do it. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think about, a lot of things that I see, and I'm, as I scroll through social media, and it's almost discouraging, because it's like, wow, these people are dealing with issues that we've never dealt with before. Yes. And they don't know that, their source is God. They have to get that relationship right first, and everything else will fall into place. Are we saying that it's going to be all unicorns and rainbows? No, it's not. But at the same time, God will show you how to navigate life.
That's true.
How to get to what he already has in store for you. But first, you have to have that ear to hear. You have to have that relationship with him. And, one of the points of this podcast is to be able to point people back to God, but at the same time, show them how to live. So many times we spend so much time focusing on getting to heaven, we forget how to live here on earth. Yeah. And we're going to come right back to the Color Outside the Box podcast, where we're going to continue this topic on marriage and relationship with Minister Cory Penn. I want you to stay tuned.
What's up, everybody? Trey here to tell you about one of the best gym experiences in Mobile, Embrace Fitness Training Center. Embrace Fitness is more than just a gym. We offer personal training, speed and agility training, golf simulator, golf fitness, boot camp classes, child care, and even powerlifting. We're open Monday through Friday, 5 a.m.